Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. The other day when I did my live, I showed a little box that I use to keep my liquid glue upright. Now, if you've watched me, you know that the other day I had a whole bunch of glue bottles that have been laying on their side and have been used and I couldn't get any of them to work. And I said, I have this great little box. And so I thought I'd show you how to make it. The other thing I wanted to show you is it's a great way to use up designer series paper. I mean, it doesn't use a lot, but you do get to show off some designer series paper. Hey, Lynette. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Beth McCullough, who gave me this little box at a backstage event in New Orleans last year as a little pillow gift. I love it. I have another one I've made that is a little more rectangular, but I like Beth's because it's square and it fits nicely on my desk. So I thought, first of all, I want to thank her for that and give her a shout out because I got her measurements from this box. All right, let me show you how to put this together. It really isn't that hard when you get going. All right, so here, isn't this an adorable little box? Now she used the daisy punch that we had for this. Used up some designer series paper, was really bright and cheery in Starry Sky and I guess Parakeet Party. And so your glue bottle fits here perfectly in this little box. And I always keep mine with the fine tip end. I don't use the broad tip end of my glue bottles. But if you keep it upright like that, you will find that the glue is always there. And if you remember, which is a note to me, always put your glue back in your little box. You won't have the issues that I had the other day. So let's get started. So the first thing that you need is a piece of cardstock that is cut 5 1/4 by 7. So I'm using, hey Felicia. Yeah, I love these things. I have another box I'll show you how to make that I keep. What do I keep in it? I keep a glue bottle, I keep dimensionals, I keep my tear and tape and all sorts of things on it. So it's a little bit bigger. We made these on a Monday night class one day, a couple of years ago, I think. All right, so 5 1/4 by 7 1/2. And we're going to score it at 1 3/4. So this is along the short side. So 1 3/4 and 3 1/2. Now, if you miss any of these measurements, reach out and I will give them to you. But I will also be doing a blog post coming up with this information on it, and this video will be attached. Okay, so then turn it 90 degrees, and now we're scoring it on the long side. And we are going to score it at 1 3/4, 3 1/2. Let's pull this out. 5 1/4 and 7. All right, so we've got our scoring done, and it's probably a little lid off, lid on, lid always on. If I remember to do that, Betty, I would be so good. Now you probably can't see that. So we scored twice on the short side at 1 3/4 and 3 1/2, and then we turned it 90 degrees and we again scored at 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, and 7. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I need to make a hole for my glue. So I'm going to use, I think I've got my stylish, these are the stylish shapes dies. And this one I think will be perfect for my glue bottle to fit in. Now, this is that 1/2 inch. This is a small little, if you can kind of see that, that's that small little score line. So this middle box, just below that 1/2 inch score line, we're going to take and run this through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to cut our hole in it. So kind of just line that up in the middle. And let me just grab my machine. Hey, Nancy. All right, Oh, I got little bits from something I cut out. Okay, so we're going to run this through with that. I've just used a little bit of Post-it note tape to hold that die in place. All right, just run it back. So this is our spot for the glue to fit into. So this is the second largest circle from the stylish shapes. Now, if you have a punch that is, how big is this? Where's my ruler? Be easier with my ruler. So if you've got a circle punch, I don't have one, that's about 1.25 inches, you could use that too. But again, this is that 1/2 inch. So this is that, when we scored it, this is that 7-inch score line. So we're going to cut our hole just below that in that square. So there's actually a square that we've done. Okay. Now I'm going to post a template that will make it a little easier to show. Now we want to cut some of these tabs off. So we're going to take, this is again that 1/2 inch, and we're going to cut these 2 tabs on the edges off. So just take your paper snips, or you can use your trimmer, and we're just going to cut. So down to that 1/2 inch. And across, and cut straight across. Okay, so this is what your piece will look like. I'll do it that way so you can actually see. So I've got one little tab here, and then I've got all my score lines that are that we did. I might be able to see them if I actually scored my paper. So you've got all the score lines in there. Okay, so let's start putting this together. The first thing that we want to do, actually, let's go in the right way. Okay, there we go. The first thing we want to do is we want to decorate it a little bit. We're going to decorate to start with. So this is why you can use up designer series paper. So I decided I wanted this to be kind of bright and cheerful. So I'm using the beautiful balloons, or the bright and beautiful sweet collection. So I've cut 4 pieces of designer series paper that are 1 5/8 by 1 5/8. So we're just going to adhere these. Now these go on to the squares that are right below, in the line right below the circle opening that you cut with your die. Dropped my DSP. Good thing the glue is transparent when it dries, and I'll take a little my eraser and just get rid of that glue when it dries. Okay, so we're going to adhere this. This is my favorite DSP in this suite, these kind of big circles that are overlapping in all sorts of pretty colors. So I've used Berry Burst. I didn't know if I said that, but this is Berry Burst cardstock. All right, so we've got our pieces. Now what we want to do is just start folding this. Now somewhere I have to cut. Let's see. I'm just going to put this together. So that's going to go across the top. That's going to go, I think I have to cut. All right, where is my, here. I'm just going to pull this apart because for some reason I need to figure out where to cut this, because you do have to cut some of these pieces. And it's not clicking. All right, we're going to wing this because I think I'm going to cut. Okay, so cut along here and here. I think this will work. So if we cut on that score line to that square, I think we will be good. All right. And yeah, we're going to have to cut some more. My goodness, I should have thought about this beforehand. So this goes in like this. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna cut along each of these score lines. We can always glue it. All right. Okay, so I'll tell you where I've cut. Okay, so we've cut our tabs off, and now we've cut along those score lines to the what is the 1 3/4 inch and 3.5 inch. So now we're just going to take and fold these. There we go, in on itself. Okay, we want to make sure that our designer series paper is showing. So we now have designer series paper on each of the sides, and we've got this tab. So when I unfold it, I'm going to show you where to put I use Tear and Tape adhesive. I think it works best. It holds it in place. So I want to put Tear and Tape on this tab so I can tuck that underneath. So there's Tear and Tape there. So that's going to tuck down like that. And then this is going to go down. This is going to fold in. So you're basically folding in all of the flaps that don't have designer series paper on them. So you can start by adhering down this little flap. Oopsie, I'll burnish that. Well, there we go. All right, so I've just taken that Tear and Tape off, folded that flat, and then I'm just going to fold that piece. So that's the start of our, thanks, Amanda. Yes, I can do this. There we go. So we've got our box sort of shaped, and now it's a matter of folding all the flaps that don't have designer series paper in on each other, like that, and then adhering the piece. Now I'm going to put a little bit of Tear and Tape or maybe glue on these pieces that I'm folding in, just because it just helps to kind of hold it in place. So just a little bit of glue, hold it in place until it kind of is sticky like that. Make sure you're keeping the one that's got the designer series paper. Just kind of hold it and press it in place. But now I'm going to use Tear and Tape because I want to make sure that this last layer sticks really well. Here we go. Get that done. There we go. Oh. Tear and Tape's not behaving today. Trying to get there we go. All right, and then this piece can stick. And now we're going to do the same thing. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on each of these as I fold them in. Doesn't really matter how you fold them in, as long as the last one that folds down is the one that has the designer series paper on it. There we go. Like that. And if you need to, put your finger in through that hole. And then again, Tear and Tape on the flap that has the designer series paper. I've come to the end of my designer series paper on that roll, or Tear and Tape on that roll. So again, this is a great way to use up, especially if you've got little scraps of designer series paper. We all have that. I save my little bits of designer series paper, and then in the end, it's like, what do I do with this? But these are only 1 5/8 inch pieces, and so we all have those. All right, so there is my little box. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. Everything is adhered. You could even put one on the bottom if you wanted to. And if I put my lid back on, my liquid glue fits perfectly in there. Now let's do a little bit of decorating of it because, gosh, we have to do that. I've got some basic white, and I grabbed the beautiful balloons. So I'm going to stamp a couple of balloons in, I think Berry Burst and Lemon. Berry Burst and Lemon Lolly. All right, I'm not going to use the biggest one because it's just a little bit big for that. I'm going to use the medium size one. I'm going to stamp just a couple of balloons, and I'm going to stamp some of the confetti. So first, I'm going to make sure this is a box. Yeah, box for your liquid glue. Yeah, I love these. Okay, so I'm gonna, one thing with this lemon lolly, if you've got it, it is so very light. And I found even if I have a little bit of color from a previous stamped image, when I go to stamp, it leaves that mark on my lemon lolly. And you may even be able to see on here, I stamped a balloon that was just a little bit dirty. So I'm just trying to remember to clean my ink, my stamps. That lemon lolly is just so light, almost transparent. So I'm going to stamp one balloon in Berry Burst and one balloon in Lemon Lolly, like that. And then I'm going to take and stamp this confetti. I don't know if it's going to show a little bit. We'll stamp in the Berry Burst on my Lemon Lolly too. There we go, just to add a little bit of detail. I'm not going to put sentiment on this. I have my bigger unit. Let me just grab it. I'll show you that in just a minute, Felicia. I'll show you that. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out. Let me finish this balloon first, or this one first, and then I'll show you the bigger one that I will demonstrate on another live in a few days. All right, I'm just going to take these and cut them out. My little machine and some more Post-it note. Run this through. Off. And the last one. So you can decorate this with anything you want, or you can just leave it plain and let just the DSP be the star of the show. And 2 balloons. All right. Put my die back before I misplace it. Okay, so I grabbed some of the white ribbon. So what I thought I'd do is just take and use a glue dot, she says. There they are. Use a glue dot. I'm going to just put a glue dot right at that kind of the bottom part of the balloon and wrap I'm going to wrap it around from the front to the back and then back around. I'm going to tie a bow and leave a string hanging, or a little bit of a string. So I just want to make sure this won't fall off. So I'm just going to kind of wrap it around like that and like that. There we go. And now we will, in a minute, tie a bow. I find it's easier to tie bow on these little pieces when I actually have it. When I have it kind of attached to something. Sometimes if it's just kind of hanging out there or loose like this, I find it really hard to tie the bows. So we'll do that and then bring this back around just to make it look like it's actually a string on a balloon. Okay, there we go. So let's kind of attach these two together using a dimensional. I have my dimensionals here somewhere. There they are. Okay, so let's just put a dimensional there and just kind of put them on like that. And then I'm going to take, and doesn't really matter what side they go on, so we'll use dimensionals to put these balloons onto the box. Like that. Try and put them up. Okay, and now let's see if I can tie my bows. Like this. And make that smaller. I don't need a huge bow. And then let's tie a bow on the second balloon. And make that smaller. Got all my strings kind of caught up. So that one's okay. I'm going to trim these a little bit more than I thought I was going to, just because it's pretty close to the bottom. All right, that's one. Let's retie this one. It wasn't being very cooperative. All right, and then make it a little bit smaller. No, not that one, this one. Get my strings kind of caught up on each other. There we go. Okay. And okay, I can fuss with those later, but there we've got strings on our balloons. Oh my gosh, yes, it's smoky here, Betty, but we've definitely got the fires here, which is all very scary. Now, if you want to put some embellishments on, you can. I thought I'd have room for these flat pearls. I don't really, so I'm going to leave it just with the balloons on it. Isn't that cute? So there you go. There is a little box that you can use some of your designer series paper. Don't forget, it's 15% off for the month of June, so it's a great time to stock up. You can use a punch, or I use the second largest of the stylish shapes circles to cut that opening. And in a couple of, probably a week or so, you'll see this video go live, or the instructions and measurements go live on a blog post. But if you missed any of these, or I confused you in any way, just leave me a comment and I will explain. But really, it's not that hard once you kind of get your head around it. Now, that second box, the larger box. So this is the larger box. It's actually made in three sections. So I have a bigger section, a medium section, and a small section. I keep my liquid glue in there. I keep dimensionals and my tear and tape, and I keep my glue dots. And this just sits on my main crafting space. So this is a great option as well for using up designer series paper. So stay tuned, because I will show you how to make that. We did it quite some time ago in one of my Monday night classes. I'm kind of thinking even in during like kind of the height of COVID in 2020, we may have made that, because that paper is a little bit older. So stay tuned for that, because I will show you. I just kind of want you to be able to make some projects using some designer series paper. I'm also going to be doing a couple of projects where I'm doing origami boxes. I learned to make an origami heart on the cruise ship on the incentive trip. And I really want to make some boxes using the designer series paper. Again, it's a perfect opportunity. It's on sale, and so it's a great opportunity to use it up. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me today. Hope I didn't confuse you too much. Hope you have a great day and that it's not too smoky and too hard to breathe where you are, but everybody stay safe. Thanks for joining me today. I will be live again on Tuesday night at 6:30 Pacific with my sketch challenge. Thanks, everybody. Happy stamping. Bye.